Welcome to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. Adam Freeman coming to you from a rainy Atlanta, Georgia. Paul Brees in Brentwood, Tennessee. What's going on, Paul?
Rain.
Up there?
Solid. Yeah.
Oh, it's been off and on, lightning and all kinds of craziness. It's like Dorothy and Toto flying around out there right now. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. The grass is out of control. I just put down grass seed last week, so I'm afraid to mow it. Don't want to throw it all over the place or, suck it up into the bag. So trying to wait as long as I can. I'm going to hold out, maybe cut it this weekend. But a lot of developments today in the world of sports and in the world in general. We're going to talk Major League Baseball, NFL, MLB, NCAA basketball recruiting, and talk some science for you guys. A landmark moment that didn't go down today, and also the best fast food options out there. So those are some of the topics tonight on tonight's Hot Takes for Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. We'll encourage everybody to listen on our platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul, and follow us on Twitter because we're blowing up on Twitter at D Through Sports. All right, Bree. So as you can see by my background, baseball and some money lying around there. The Major League Baseball players pay cut proposal. Again, this is a proposal that the owners came up with, and it's very interesting. And if you follow, which we do, we follow Jeff Passan, who is a Major League Baseball analyst and reporter for ESPN, has a lot of good information. He was breaking it down on his Twitter feed. It's really it's basically a sliding scale. I don't know. Have you heard anything about it? Have you read anything about it?
I sure have.
Absolutely. How it's read out. So the lower tier players essentially that make under $1 million are going to take roughly a 50 to 58% pay, or will receive 50 to 58%, which is more commensurate with the fact that they're only playing possibly an 82-game season.
Yeah. So if you're a math wizard out there,
yeah.
Let's see, baseball does 162. Is that right?
Yeah.
So almost a half a season for a little less than half the price.
Yeah. Yeah. For the guys that are on the lower tier.
The lower tier guys.
Lowest tier. The guys that make $1 million or less. For example, the lowest base salary in the major leagues is around $560,000.
Yep.
Guys would make $260,000.
That's right.
If they make $1 million, they would make $434,000. Okay. Now, as you get higher up in your base salary, the reduction is more and more and more. Now,
I got to say this, Adam.
Okay.
I mean, if you're a guy like Mike Trout, I mean, you got to be thinking, wait a minute, this is a crazy sliding scale, and if he's a 30 million guy,
he's a $38 million guy.
All right, so half of that, so the scale that I had was 30 million, proposed 15 million, but the MLB proposal 6.95.
Yeah, if you're a Garrett Cole or you're a Mike Trout and you're making $35 million, supposed to, in a 162-game season, the sliding scale proposal is that you make $7.8 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now you and I are both teachers, Paul, all right? And you've been teaching for how many years?
About 26.
26?
Yeah.
Okay, I just finished year 23. Okay, I've not made if in my entire life, I have not made
no
of the upper echelon sliding scale. I haven't made 20% of that. Okay, so for me, and I'm hardcore baseball, love baseball, but for me to feel sorry for those guys, I don't. How can I feel sorry for them? I want them to come live on $50,000-$60,000 a year and support a family of four on $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Okay, I'm pretty sure I could do it at 7.8. Okay, if I'm Mike Trout or Garrett Cole, I think I could get it done. So this looks bad. This looks bad for the players. The optics are bad with them, balking at it.
Well, let me tell you how it. I found out some interesting things about this. Is that the lower tier players who essentially base per percentage are getting, paid more. They're not losing as much money. Let's just say it this way.
Right, they're not losing as much, right?
But they would probably vote against this, those guys at the bottom of the scale, because they know in maybe 2-3 years, they're going to be in that upper echelon scale. So some of the guys like poor Aaron Judge, I don't know if you heard his story, but the Yankees are getting a bargain with this guy. He just re-signed. He went filed for arbitration, just got signed for like $8 million a year. Well, based upon this scale, they're going to get him for about what? Less than
$1.5 million, probably.
Yeah. I would say maybe $2 million.
Yeah.
So some of the lower scale guys may want to and say, hey, we're going to be there one day, and they're going to vote against it. If
do you think they would vote against it, just even though this is a temporary fix? And I feel like everything's going to go back to normal come next spring, as far as and they would revert back to the original. But the big concern for me, being a Dodger fan too, signed Mookie Betts, man, who's a Brentwood guy, right? And I may never get to see him play in a Dodger uniform. I watched one spring training game with him in it and was like, oh, man, we're going to be awesome this year. I may never get to see him play in Dodger uniform with Bellinger and Peterson and Turner and all those guys.
Well, you think
he may be a $40 million guy.
Right. And you think it's rough for the major league guys. Your boy, Jeff Passan?
Yeah.
Had tweeted out that Oakland A's had reached out to their minor league players and said, all right, guys, after this week, we're done paying you your $400 a week.
Yeah.
Or a month. No, is it a week? Yeah.
It's a week, okay? And they could take care of their entire minor league system for $1 million a month, okay? Yeah. Their owner is worth $2 billion. Okay? It is so out of whack. It's so out of whack. It just looks really bad. It looks really bad all the way around, that people are out of work. They're being furloughed. They're, can't pay their bills. And these guys are arguing. These billion-dollar owners are worried about losing money when they've been making money hand over fist the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So, I got a big problem with that.
And the crazy thing is, I'm sure they have other vested interest in other businesses. When you got money like that, you got to spread it to other things.
Yeah, you're diversified.
But I tell you what, I talked about it last night. If you were Gary Bettman in the NHL, get on board and get back to playing, because you're going to make MLB look silly if you can get out there and start going at it by August 1.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. We talk about things getting going. There's this amateur basketball tournament. Have you heard about this? It's called the basketball tournament. It's really –
I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, it's a bunch of old college players and, in the league and stuff like that. They're going to be playing at a undisclosed site, 24 teams, single elimination, 10-day tournament, screening in place, sanitized areas in place, and if anybody on the team tests positive, their team's eliminated from the tournament.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
That's the first sort of organization, if you will, to come up with, I think, a plan, or a protocol, if you will, on how they're going to handle it. All right.
Listen, before you go, I know this is not on the hot takes, but that you mentioned that And that just sounds like an old ABA semi-pro Flint Tropic situation
Yeah.
where a father Pat is breaking up fights. And I'm all for that tournament.
Yes.
I know if you get the right people against the right people in the NBA that didn't like each other, and how we saw back in the 80s and early 90s how, hey, I'll take a swing at you because they're not going to throw me out of this game.
Yeah.
Count me in. What is the tournament called?
It's called the basketball tournament. TBT, the basketball tournament. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Right.
We're going to tag them. We're going to tag them in this episode. Maybe.
All right, here we go.
All right, moving on. Cam Newton, where are you? Where's Cam? What is he doing, and where will he end up? And you and I had an interesting conversation off air about this. My gut feeling was, and your gut feeling was, Belichick's grabbing this guy. No doubt he's going to grab this guy. Nobody's talking about Stidham. He's just kind of this guy that's waiting in the wings. And we got Stidham, but I think we can get Cam really cheap. And I think they can, but Josh McDaniels came out and was just like, not too impressed with the guy. Doesn't really fit with what we do. So I think New England is officially out of the Cam business. So
I didn't realize, first of all, this guy's a MVP.
2015 MVP. Yeah.
And I didn't realize he was looked down upon by other teams. I mean, apparently a lot of teams feel like he's got a bad attitude, a bad vibe about him. They don't want any part of it.
And I think a lot of it too, some of it's that. He's kind of an all about me guy, I think is the perception. But also, I think from a Josh McDaniels standpoint, I think it's a lot about his mechanics. Okay, he's got one of the lower completion percentages in the league. And, the Patriots are coming off Brady, who's highly efficient, even though he didn't have a great year last year. I think McDaniel's looking at it, very objectively and being like, look, he doesn't do what we need our quarterback to be able to. What he does well is not really what we're into. We're into efficiency and being able to make the short throws and
right. And I'll tell you right now, Adam,
patterns and stuff like that.
If I was Cam Newton, I would be calling Antonio Brown and say, hey, buddy, let me throw you a few passes. Let's get it on video. Antonio Brown can catch everything, right?
Yeah.
And, man, he would make Cam Newton look really accurate.
Oh, yeah.
Because if Cam Newton dilly-dallies around, who knows? He would probably be signed only if a team is in an emergency situation with an injury or something like that.
And that's another thing, too. He's coming off major shoulder surgery.
Yeah, I got you.
So that's a huge question mark, I think, a lot of people, is his physical health. His style in his MVP years and leading up to that, a lot of out of the pocket, a lot of running. He took a lot of hits. And I think, and he was in that really bad car accident. So his health is a definite concern. So my first thought was that he would end up in San Diego with Anthony Lynn out there. Yes, they just drafted Justin Herbert, but their starting quarterback is Tyrod Taylor and and the third string guy's name is Easton Stick. That's his name. Okay? So I don't see, sign him to a 1-year deal, couple $1 million, and unless, like you said, it's just an issue where they don't want him in the clubhouse. So he's a locker room problem.
Well,
I feel like San Diego would have been a good fit for him. And
I got to correct you, Adam, because it would be the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
Dude, I do it all the time. Second thing is,
I hate the LA Chargers.
Yeah, the
They'll
Chargers
always be the San Diego Chargers.
Absolutely. Dan Fouts and the boys.
Yep.
Yep. The only other team name that I've heard, and we bounced it around, was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the owner and Mike Tomlin seemed to, listen, they had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on the same team at the same time.
And Big Ben now.
And Big Ben as well. And you didn't hear much negativity going on at that time. There was, locker room issues or anything like that. So if there's someone that maybe can provide Cam with some motherly, nurturing love, maybe Tomlin and the guys there could do it. So anyway, Cam, we miss you. Hopefully get to come back soon.
Yeah, and that's sort of something that we are looking for. That I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that to sort of break. For that story, that I feel like that's going to be the next, sort of the next story.
Well, between Cam Newton and Jadeveon Clowney, and like who's going to sign the next one. But anyway, I can't wait to talk about this next hot take because I am fired up, buddy.
Yes, I am with you, and just because of that, we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it in full screen mode here. I don't know a kid growing up in the 80s that didn't have this poster right here behind me.
Yeah, the Dale Murphy.
The Power Alley poster. And
that's not even a green screen. That's your actual poster right behind your head.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah.
Hey.
It's something that was, it was the 80s. It was the 80s. And that was kind of when the Braves sucked in the 70s and early 80s, and then 82 had that breakout year, and 83, 84, it was Murphy, Horner, those guys, and this Power Alley poster came out. And, before every baseball game was on MLB Network, you had the Superstation, TBS, who carried every single Braves game, and you had WGN in Chicago. And if you had cable back in the 80s, you could watch every Cubs game. You could watch every Braves game if you wanted to. So everybody got to see these guys. And so I watched the Braves a lot. And Dale Murphy, just when I'd be in the backyard playing wiffle ball, his batting stance. He had this stance. It was in a little bit of a crotch, and he would waggle that bat. You remember that? He would do the bat waggle, and then he would just kind of stand up kind of straight. And I'd do that all the time. So for me, even though Garvey's my guy, and I would do the Garvey too, because he was always very straight up and just kind of would set the bat out there and set the bat out there 2 times. And then he would just kind of, it was very, there was no motion in his stance. He was very,
I would call it formal.
Very
Steve Garvey
formal.
Looked very formal. When
it's like, I got a job to do up here. I'm not going to be real animated. He was just very calm and he had a very static stance. Murphy's was not static at the beginning. It had a lot of motion in it, but then he settled down. Hands were very quiet, and then he just unleashed on the ball. And the Power Alley poster was great. What about you?
Well, I was fighting through 3 choices. And some of our listeners may or may not know Rod Carew. Rod Carew, he would hold that bat way out.
And he would hold it. It was horizontal to the ground.
Yes.
I loved it. Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys too.
And my second one would have been Gary Sheffield, where he was almost like, really deep. Yeah. Where the bat was in front of his face.
You would hit in softball like that.
I love it. I love it some Gary Sheffield. But obviously the guy, Joe Morgan, man, if you have a batting stance that involves a twitch, and you remember Joe Morgan, he had that chicken wing twitch.
He'd do that like 3 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so unique. It's almost like he was winding himself up, ready to swing.
So Joe Morgan, part of the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was pretty solid. And
absolutely. Hall of Famer.
We would obviously not pick anybody that was not a very good player. So,
yeah. I mean, why would you?
Dale Murphy, you emulate chumps, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's a 2-time MVP, of course.
That's right. So,
Joe Morgan, 2 times World Series champion, Hall of Famer. Yeah. You're not going to pick,
That's a.
to speak ill of the dead, you're not going to pick Biff Prokhorova, who passed yesterday. Or Bruce Benedict. Okay, nobody remembers what his stance looked like. Yeah. These guys were iconic in their day, and again, 40 years later, we're remembering
Their batting stance. Dude, I was
batting
fired up when you
stances.
sent that out today. I was like, oh, yeah. So
For those of you that are unfamiliar with our format, Paul and I, we changed it up a little bit to where we went from 3 topics and we expanded it a little bit to sort of a PTI look, and so you could follow along. And we'll go throughout the day texting each other ideas for topics. Now, this next topic,
this one was had no clue.
I didn't hit Brees with this one until he saw the slide when you guys saw it. And this is the recent reclassification of Mr. Tennessee, number 8 overall ESPN recruit Moussa Cissa out of Memphis by way of New York, by way of Africa. Okay. He's 7 feet tall, 7-foot wingspan. I think he averaged 18 and 14 in EYBL play. He has reclassified to be the class of 2020, which is important because he can start college in the fall. He can play college basketball this season, but more importantly for him, he's eligible for the NBA draft in 2021, which tends to be, by the way, a stacked class.
Right.
Guys. Unlike this year is not so great. Next year, it's going to be the real deal.
You know who James Wiseman is, right?
Oh yeah.
So is he part of this?
Yes.
Or
he's part of this class.
Okay. All right.
So he'll be part of the draft. When is the draft? June 24th, I think.
Yeah. Normally. Yeah.
He's going to be part of that draft class of this year, which I would imagine Golden State's going to have the number 1 pick. Do they go Anthony Edwards or do they get somebody like Wiseman? I think Anthony Edwards could be the number 1 pick myself. Yeah. But Cissa, obviously, Kentucky's on his list, Georgetown, Memphis, Georgia, of all places, which kind of surprised me. But he's supposed to make a decision pretty soon, and him reclassifying that changed the game in terms of his recruiting. Unfortunately for Kentucky fans like myself, he went to high school at Paul.
He went to
high school.
Yeah, he went to Lausanne High School in Memphis, and Mark Gasol went to Lausanne High School.
Really?
So who knows? This guy may be the second best player out of Lausanne.
Yeah, it's called Lausanne Collegiate School. Is that?
Yeah. So maybe somehow he got enough hours, and he said, "See you later."
Okay, so it's basically like a prep school.
Yeah.
Okay. Sort of like an IMG, that sort of.
Well, they play under the TSSAA umbrella, and so
schedule what are they, like double A?
They're private school large is what they would call it.
Private school large. Okay.
Right.
So I can only imagine how dominant he was at that level. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Congratulations.
But he was, he's been working out over the summer or in this time with James Wiseman, with Precious Ndoku or whatever his name is from Memphis, and I just get a bad feeling that Penny's got his claws in him and is going to get him. He's going to, just like he got Wiseman away from Calipari, I think he's going to get this kid from right under his nose too. All right, so that's our NCAA basketball surprise topic that I hit Brees with earlier today. And then Brees hit me up with this next category, the SpaceX launch, which turned into the SpaceX cancellation. The Falcon 9 rocket, which was supposed to go up with the Dragon Crew, as it was called, had to cancel due to weather.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Adam. I had no clue what this thing was happening. I didn't even know where were they flying, what was going on. I just know my mother-in-law texted and said, "Hey, don't miss this. It could be history."
Now,
so about 3:20, I flipped it over, and so we got the whole crew around, and then they say, "Flight's canceled." And you're just like, how can a spaceship not get through a weather pattern but you could get an airplane to fly through, you know, just crazy storms.
The Bermuda Triangle, you know,
Yeah.
a little turbulence here, but we can't, you know, a rocket that's going 80 times faster than a plane.
Yeah. And it just cannot zoom through the
Yeah.
middle of a storm for like 2 seconds. I mean, it's going to knock it off course. I mean, listen.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I think there's an issue with the rocket costing a little bit more money than a 7. Some of the technology in the rocket. Now, here's what's interesting. Now, obviously, since you had no clue about this till Ron mentioned it to you,
I found out that it was a big deal because President Trump showed up. So
yeah.
I knew it had to be something important.
Yeah. So here's the thing with the SpaceX program. It's a joint venture between SpaceX, owned by Elon Musk, and NASA.
Okay.
Now, what makes it so special is, you recall back in the day, they would have rocket launches, and we'd watch, and then, you know, there'd be a separation, and then have to retrieve this part of the rocket out of the Atlantic
Ocean. Yeah.
No, this rocket is reusable.
Really?
It goes up and it can land on a platform in the ocean somewhere. It's unbelievable. It's reusable. They can use these rockets to send satellites into space. They eject the satellite. They can come back down, land, be used again.
Now, does it land like a plane, like the space shuttle used to?
It lands. No. It actually, like, if you can imagine, like, you know, the thrust off the rocket comes out of the bottom, obviously.
Right.
So it basically will home in on the signal on the platform, and then it will, you know, dethrust and just sit and land.
That's
like if you ever seen a
drone,
sort of like a drone, okay? But if you've ever seen a Harrier jet take off,
yeah.
It's kind of it lands like that.
Okay.
A controlled descent by, like, decreasing the thrusters on the rocket. It's unbelievable. Go on YouTube and just, there's all kinds of, they've done tests and stuff like that where they land them, and there's just be this platform in the ocean. They go land it on there. It's unreal.
Well, all right. So my 2 questions are: price tag of this venture, and what is their destination, or what is their end result? Do you know?
I think Mars is the plan. I think they're wanting to, like, inhabit Mars. Something along those lines. I haven't too much into it. Now, my nephew, Sarek, is an enormous Elon Musk fan. He loves Elon Musk. I think last time I was up there, he even had a SpaceX T-shirt.
Wow.
Read every book on Elon Musk, and he wants to work at SpaceX when he grows up.
Okay.
And he can probably do it because he's smart enough where he could probably pull it off.
Now, if I'm not correct,
we could probably be janitors at SpaceX. He could probably run the whole place by the time it's all said and done.
I heard there was it about 19 days to get
the
there?
Mission.
I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk, Dave Portnoy, 2024, go get it.
Yeah, they'll get it done. They'll get it done. I'm already working on printing the T-shirts.
All right, what we got?
All right, man. Last part, a little human interest for everybody. Best fast food. Now, again, this is an opinion piece, okay? Based on me growing up, based on you growing up, based on, you know, what you did as a teenager and places you like to go. And for me, place I still like to go. If I had a choice, and a lot of people I'm going to get blowback from this, okay? But
hey, not from this guy.
Okay, best fast food. I'm not really picky. Okay, if I want to go upscale, I'll go to Wendy's. A lot of sandwich choices there. I can go chicken. I can go nuggets. I can go bacon burger. I got all kinds of options. But just in general, if I'm just hungry and I'm craving fast food, I'm a pretty simple guy. I love me some Crystal hamburgers.
Nice.
I could, back in the day, 10 for $2.50. I'm up for that. we'd be cruising Green Hills, boom, right up there on
Yep.
the left, right past the mall.
Now, did you get your crystals without mustard?
No, mustard, gotta have it.
Okay.
Gotta have mustard.
Okay. All right.
And I didn't go with the cheese crystal. I'm not a big cheese crystal guy. I'm not a double crystal guy. Straight up red
Wow.
crystal. There's a there's a crystal about 8 miles from my house that is in the same Lake Point sports complex where I used to work a lot and do a lot of shifts. So on my way home, a lot of times I would stop there. And I think they got a deal that's like 7 crystals, fries, and a drink. That's my go-to, man. And those 7 crystals are gone by the time I get to Highway 51. I mean, they are absolutely gone. Now, the best part about it is you can actually go to the grocery store, buy these. You can get a dozen of them in a box, okay? Put them in the microwave 2 at a time for a minute, and 3 minutes later, you got 6 crystals. So for me, best fast food, I love crystals, and people give me a hard time about it, but they're so good. It's the bun. I know there's not that much meat on it, but it just tastes. The taste is. I just love it, and you can just down so many of them. But if I'm going upscale, I'm going Wendy's. What about you?
Well, obviously, based on my genetic makeup, that I'm a fast food connoisseur. And so obviously people would think, hey, why aren't you picking Chick-fil-A or Zaxby's? In my opinion, that does not constitute as fast food. In my game of fast food realm, I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Well, yes,
they have a drive-through, but if you got if you can have a wrap and a salad and macaroni and cheese all in one drive-through, that's not what we're looking for right here. And we must talk about this, Adam. Growing up, we did not have value meals. We didn't have a dollar menu, which would have been trouble, I think, for this guy. Because, a dollar for gas, I could have got me a lot, dude. I mean, you riding with me? Yeah, I'll take you.
Yeah,
It's a free meal for driving you to the Wendy's, right? So, I'm a big fan of the Crystal game. I'm a big McDonald's French fries guy.
Oh yeah.
A big proponent of the Wendy's, the whole menu. But dude, there's the one place that I can't pass without like having that knee-jerk reaction to pull in. Taco Bell.
I know. I really I thought with myself, I was Crystal or Taco Bell, because there's a Taco Bell on my way home from school, and I have many nights just been like, it's been late. Leslie be like, hey, I'm on my way home. She's like, well, if you want to get yourself something on the way home. There's a Wendy's across the street, and then there's Taco Bell, which is on my side. So it's easy to get in and out of Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't have to make a left. Okay, so a lot of times I would hit up Taco Bell. What's your go-to at Taco Bell?
Well, anytime they do the $5 box, I'm always game to try it. I used to be a what was that bean burrito kind? It was like 59 cents back in the day.
Yes.
And obviously, I can roll with a soft taco. Chalupas are solid. But I'm game for anything. I don't think I have a roll to the window and have a specific go-to. I peruse, and then, we can get away with not spending a lot of money and enjoying it.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point now where I will go, because the kids love their bean burritos.
Yeah.
And I'll just order like a dozen of them. We'll just keep them in the fridge and we'll just eat them. But for me, if it's just me, Nacho Bel Grande, 2 soft Supremes every time. I just got like a settle. That's what I get. I mean, you can add whatever, Doritos, Locos, Taco, all this is special. No.
You're like Norm from Cheers.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Freeman's pulling in.
Yeah.
Give him the usual.
A funny story. to that, my favorite Mexican restaurant, which is just right across a little back street from that. It's literally a stone's throw. I can hit the deck of the Mexican restaurant from Taco Bell. It's called Los McGee's. Great, authentic Mexican food. When I would have a football game, and I'd get out at, the game be over 10:30. I hadn't eaten since like 4 with our pregame meal. I'd be walking in my car and I would call every Friday night during football season. And this is every Friday night for like 18 years. Okay. So early on, it was is a family owned place. So the guy would answer, and it was always me between about 10:30 and 10:45. They closed the kitchen at 11. I'm pretty sure I was the last meal that they made. And I would say, yeah, I need to place an order for pickup. Yeah. What would you like? Nachos, nacho supreme, no chicken, hard shell beef taco. He'd go, Freeman? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So, like when, if you're on a first name basis with the guy that owns the place and he knows your order and doesn't have to ask you your name,
that's good.
You kind of have to take a step back and like, am I eating there too often? I mean, do I have a problem here? But yeah, that's best fast food. We grew up with Wendy's and Burger King in Brentwood. That's about all we had. If we had to go, if we were in Green Hills, it was like, oh, I can go to Crystal. It's in Green. Yeah. So, yeah, great stuff tonight. A lot of great topics to hash over. And again, you guys can click on one of our previous episodes here on the screen. Take a look at that. Also, right below us, just click on that picture of myself and Brees, and you can subscribe and follow us that way. And for Paul Brees in Brentwood, Tennessee, I'm Adam Freeman in Atlanta, Georgia. You've been listening to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul.